Why, hello and welcome to my tiny house. Just kidding, we did not buy a tiny house, but we are on a vacation, and it was a similar price to stay here in this tiny house that I found on Airbnb compared to staying somewhere else, so I thought, why not give it a try? So we're here for 2 nights. We've already stayed for 1 night, and we have some thoughts about how it's like living in a tiny house. So I encourage you to stick around and we'll show you a bit of a tour as well as share what we like about it, what we don't like about it, and our overall thoughts. Let's get into it. All right, so we just walked in. I'm basically like fully immersed in the house, but I'm going to walk you through what's here. So we have the door over here, and then right away there is this little organizer. Now this has a lot of random stuff on it from people who run the Airbnb, but this could definitely be your prime storage space. We don't have much on here. We brought our white noise sleep machine right here, and then just a few, I got that's cord is mine, rain, hair tie, basic items, but that's right here. Then here in the corner, this is the shoe bin or basket, so we put our shoes in there. In this little main area, we have our travel bags. So this is a 2-month trip. I've got my backpack here. Jake's got his backpack and a few other items. We also have a food bag with some of our snacks packed up there. There are a few things out that I'll show you in a second on the little table there, but that's the gist of it. And then if we go this way, here is the bathroom. Like I said, there's no sink. There is a fan, pretty standard sized shower, toilet. Not really any shelving space or storage here though, so it was a tight fit. On the side here, there's a little wall art, and then there were some hooks, so we were able to put jackets as well as smaller bags or reusable bags up there to make the most of that space. And then there is the ladder. When the ladder is put back up, it will go along that wall, kind of right where I'm pointing. Let's continue on. All right, to continue the tour, this is the little dining area. We're using some of it to store random food items, but this part of the table actually can slide in and out. You can see those levers down there. So we've just kept it open, mostly because we need the storage space to set some of the food items on that don't go in the fridge, and also it can be an option to like work up here. So Jake was working on some stuff here. And we can come over here. This is the main area. So this is the couch here that Jake and I were working on. Underneath, don't mind my socks that are under there, but there is a little basket for some storage. So I've been storing some of my work items here, my other camera and laptop when I'm not working. So that's kind of nice tucked away there. Makes me think about if I was to do some storage at home underneath the couch. And just a little side table. So very minimal here. One downside is that the pillows take up half the couch, or maybe a third, and there's a trash can right there, as well as a little table. Now this is kind of like the kitchen trash, because if we pan around here, this is now, we're in the kitchen. So it's definitely pretty tight quarters. I mean, that's where you put the trash can, but convenient for snacking, not so pleasant to sit right next to while you're trying to work on something, but that's just kind of the compromises you make in the space. In the kitchen, it's pretty well stocked, more stocked than we needed. Down below, they've got kind of a drying rack and some pots and pans. There's the fridge and then a hot plate. They also have silverware and utensils in these little trays. There is a cutting board, coffee maker. This is just a basket we have like some toiletries in that we brought, and like toothbrushes and skincare and all of that kind of stuff. We do try to travel with full-size products if we're not taking flights, just because we don't want to be adding to like the plastic waste of using all the travel-sized items if it's a longer trip like this one for 2 months. Sink here, this is this only sink in the place, so it's been very multi-purpose. And if we look up here, we've got just microwave and some utensils. And then further up there you can see a little bit of bedding hanging off the side. That is the bed area. The ladder to use the bed is right here. Now, it was hooked up below the TV there, but I just feel better about keeping it hooked over here while we're still using it. It's fairly easy to climb up, although not my favorite activity. There's not really a whole lot up here. There is some nice lighting they installed, but the switch is over there, so I'm not gonna crawl up. Oh, that's my microphone bag from earlier. So we don't really have much up here, just a little lotion, and there's a little fan there. And then there was a decorative pillow. Again, when space is tight, why do you use a decorative pillow? And obviously we've slept here, so it's not a perfectly made bed, but that just shows you the loft. It's pretty short, so you can't fully sit up on it, which is kind of a bummer. And there's a little bit of a ledge there before you get into the kitchen. Hi everyone, some time has passed since I shared that little overview of the space, and our stay here is almost done. We've got one more night and then we'll be checking out tomorrow, but I thought this would be a good chance. You know, we're in pajamas, it's very casual here, but I thought this could be a good chance for us to sort of talk about what we like about the tiny house, what we don't like about the tiny house, and any other insight.
Yes, Tiny House Talk.
Ooh, I like it.
You named the segment, Tiny House Talk.
So with that, let's talk first about positives. What do we like about the tiny house?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot first. Okay. Well, the first thing I like about the tiny house is that everything is just in one space. You don't have to go too far to find anything because it's all right there.
If you need to charge, I can reach the charger here, or right there very easily.
I can prepare my food and brush my teeth in the same sink. Every person's dream.
Oh.
That's all. Oh, I'm sorry. No. Let's see. I do like well, this is a bit of a pro and a con, but I do like the loft space for sleeping. The reason I like it is that I'm like high off the ground, and it reminds me of like a bunk bed, like when you're a little kid.
They're almost like a tree house.
Yeah, and I never, this is a side story, but I never got the top bunk usually in the situations where I slept in a bunk bed, which wasn't that often because I didn't have one. So it was a new experience for me. So I do like that. What else do I like about the tiny house? I do like the decoration in here. Again, this is a bit of a pro and con though. Like, when we're talking pros, I like the decoration choices. There's a lot of green in this particular tiny house, a lot of plants. I think most of them aren't real though.
Yeah, I think most of them are fake plants.
But, so, I mean, I wish they were real, but I do like them.
That's not necessarily true about tiny house living in general.
So I'm supposed to, what else about tiny house living?
Well, I think you've said
yeah. What are your tiny house?
Yeah, I think I definitely
loves.
I think I definitely agree with you about some of the things you've said. It's nice. It feels kind of like you're in your own little world, or like tucked away. It's very cozy, like a little hideaway. So that part I do like, and overall, I'm very impressed just with the intentionality of specifics. Like you saw earlier in the video, the table that can be folded down or popped up, you know, if you need it to eat, or we needed it for storage, or just the vertical storage along the wall and having, you know, little cubbies on the wall like you saw earlier. So it's cool because I think that sort of mindset we can apply in other spaces, like how they're able to efficiently use the small space. So I think that's very innovative, and I find that in a way kind of inspirational to think more about, like in our home, ways that we can channel some of this same decor or aesthetic or mindset and make better use of our wall storage or hidden storage, and then therefore be able to just have certain things be more organized or fewer things out and on surfaces. So I think I like that part a lot too. All right, I know you've got quite a list of cons. I will say, going into this, we knew that we didn't think tiny house living was ever going to be for us, and at this point it's definitely not on the table just where we're at in life. This probably would have been something, if we were to try it, like seriously, we would have done this probably earlier on, like in our 20s. I mean, I'm 30 now.
I mean, we do have less stuff now, though, I think, than we ever have. When we
That's
first
true.
got married, there's no way.
No, we were a mess.
It was bad. I guess I'll go.
Yeah, maybe we'll alternate.
Yeah, so I do like what you were saying, though, about the positives, about the table folding in. I was thinking about that. So this kind of segues into the pro-con thing I'm doing. I do like how the ladder here with the loft I was talking about, how you can move it into like the position, like when you need it, and then you can move it off to the side so that way it doesn't get in your way when you're trying to go to the door. But what I don't like, I guess, about the loft is I am also scared of heights. So, I know, how does this work? You like being up there, but you don't. So going up the ladder frightened me, I will admit, a little bit.
Well, more so
Not ashamed.
Coming down the ladder.
I guess coming down the ladder, too.
In the morning. Did you have your contacts in yet? Or?
I made sure to have my glasses up
Okay.
there with me. Yeah, one item per person when you go up to the loft. It's like Survivor. Bring your what do they used to call it?
It's been so long.
I
since
don't
I've watched that
remember.
show. Luxury
The
item?
Luxury item, there you go.
I don't think they even do that anymore.
Maybe they don't. So that part was a little rough. And then up there in the loft, the ceiling is so low, like in comparison to the beds, you can't sit up there. So you're like belly crawling when you get up there.
True story.
True story. You're like a little toddler, a little young child, learning how to move for the first time. But you really have nowhere to go.
I think for me, the biggest con is just having only one sink, which in theory totally makes sense. Space is tight. You don't need duplicates of features, but the sink is in like the kitchen area rather than in the bathroom. And so I think the most challenging thing was after a shower, like when you're getting ready, the bathroom is just the toilet and the shower in one tiny spot, but there's no mirrors and no surfaces. So it's like, you gotta be close with whoever you're sharing the space with, because after the shower, you dry yourself off a bit, then you gotta walk out in the kitchen, Jake's sitting here on the couch while I'm trying to get dressed and use skincare. So I wished there was a sink there as well as, in the main area, just so you're not on full display. And also with the one sink, it's like we've got our toothbrushes there, but also our like kitchen types of things, and like we used a couple of the dishes, so then you're washing dishes and dishes are drying, so it's just a lot happening all by that one sink.
Yeah, you can't really fit. I mean, the part about the flexibility that you mentioned earlier is nice, like using your space intentionally, but you can't use it for everything at once. Something has to give. Oh, I do have something else. I know I complimented the decorations earlier, and they really are nice decorations, but I feel like when you're in a tiny house and space is at a premium, the decorations can be a little much. Like, for example, behind us, the decorative pillows, but we're kind of not the biggest decorative pillow people in general. Sorry. But
No, not sorry.
Well, sorry.
I'm very anti-decorative pillow.
Yeah, just because you end up throwing them on the floor in most cases. But anyway, this is a tiny house specific thing. So, like behind me, they have this decoration on like the windowsill, but it's like kind of in the way when you're trying to like open and shut the blinds. Like you have to contend with that, or like there's like these. Not cabinets, shelves. There's like a wall shelf like by the door of the place. That would be a really good place to put storage, like maybe like your toiletry bag if you've got that, or maybe some like you've got small food containers or whatnot, or water bottles. I don't know, it's just whatever it could be. But it's at least here, it's filled up with plants and knickknacks and things, and so I understand the decorative appeal with it. Like, this is an Airbnb, they're trying to make this look nice on camera for us to stay. But from practicality standpoint, I'd want to keep all my surfaces clear because space is at a premium.
And I know we sort of maybe touched on this earlier, but I think just a general con can be proximity, with the idea that whoever you're sharing this with, you are like right up in that same room, same space. And the thing is, I love spending time with Jake, and we have so much fun. We have so much fun together. But the thing is, like, it's tight, and so prior to filming, I mean, I'm a clumsy person, you guys know that, and right when I was walking over, I tripped on his feet here, but there's not a lot of space, and then I did bump my head into the ladder before, not intentionally, like, I was generally watching where I was going, and so it's a very tight space, and you are not very far from anything at any point, which again has its conveniences, but also it's like, you just want to breathe a little bit. And I think, at least kind of transitioning this video into our general thoughts about tiny house living for our lifestyle specifically, I think we're homebody types too much that this sort of space would feel pretty constricting and unpleasant. Yeah. I think if you're someone who's very much on the go, out and about, even in like a warmer climate and spending more time outside every day, and you're pretty much just using like your tiny house for sleeping and like the basics, I think you'd probably have a better experience. But for us, our job requires us to be like working, on the computer, like, inside. This sort of situation isn't an ideal fit.
Yes. I would agree with everything that you said.
Do you want to add on any final thoughts?
Just be sure, if you're in a tiny house in that loft, make sure you have everything up there when you go up there, because you're not coming back down.
Yeah. And I think just to add on another, like, just takeaway in terms of doing something like this was a fun chance. I mean, it was 2 nights for us, so something easy to give it a try to see what we thought about tiny house living. But with that, I think travel can be a really amazing opportunity for you to see what you like and what you don't like about living spaces. So both back earlier on, we had thought about doing travel to places we thought potentially we'd like to move to, and that was really helpful for us to realize, no, we don't want to move to those places. We're actually very happy where we are. It kind of reaffirmed our choice to stay in the general area where we are. So that's nice, and we continue to do that as we're visiting places, but also the different type of things. So there might be different features or amenities at places you travel to that you can test out for yourself before you're committing to a major life change. So I think that's one of the very helpful options. So I encourage any of you, if you're thinking about, would I like tiny house living? I know when I was booking lodging on this trip that we're on, there were a lot of places that offered tiny houses, and I figured one place was enough, but I could have booked like 5 or 10 tiny house stays on this trip if I wanted. The options were there. So if it's something you've, dabbled with in your mind, why not give it a try and see if it's a good fit?
Yeah, you always have to go with your own experience, I think. Take other people's words, obviously, and advice, but you gotta ultimately try it for yourself and see if it works for you.
And of course, with that same statement, just to bounce off Jake's comment there, everyone is looking for something different, and even within minimalism, there's such a range in terms of the number of items people choose to keep in their lifestyle, and even if our stuff could fit in a tiny house, which it does not.
Would not.
But there's also not even like a clothing storage area here, and this one's probably a little smaller than some. But it's just a matter of we don't necessarily need to have as many items as other people, but I do still like having more space to kind of spread out. But not everyone needs that or craves that, and it's just kind of listening into what you want and the sort of setup, and even if tiny homes are legal where you live, because that's even
they're not by us
as well. No, I think when I looked several years ago, they weren't even really an option by us. So I just think there's lots to think about, but I hope you enjoyed coming along on this little test with us, and feel free to check out some other videos over here or subscribe to the channel up there. We'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.